Welcome to Captain Harold DeMarrero's River Stories, Volume 24. We last left off, Captain was heading to Fontaine Johnson's house. He just found out their little 50-50 business proposition was giving Fontaine 10 times as much money as it was giving Cap every month. So pick it up at knocking on his door there, Cap.
Well, one of the things I found out at the accountant's office was that Fontaine had bought this company from a friend of his called Eno Dupree. And Eno had, all the company was a operational company to operate a towboat. That's what it was. It didn't own anything. And so, but Eno was making a few bucks off of it. Fontaine and Eno was buddies from long back. And so Fontaine bought it from Eno with my $10,000. He didn't have any money to put into the thing. So actually, I really owned the whole damn company, but I only had 50% of it. So, and I was young, didn't know what I was doing, I was in college for the second time around. And so I got a plane ticket. The hell with school. That was the last thing in my mind was school at this point, and I was so angry. I got a plane ticket, flew down to New Orleans, and rented a car, went to Fontaine's, and knocked on the door. And he came to the door, and I was really, really pissed. I've been thinking about this all the way down the plane ride. What an idiot I am, that this guy's drawing all this money, and I own half of the company, and I'm drawing nothing practically. So, anyway, he opened the door. I went in, and he says, "Here, how you doing? What are you doing down here?" I said, "I want to come down to talk to you." And he says, "Well, have a drink. Here, come on." And I went over and I had a drink. I think I was drinking scotch at that time, scotch on the rocks. And I made me a drink because I wanted to feel meaner.
Get in touch with your emotions.
Getting in touch with my emotions. I wanted to really let this guy have it, So we sit down in his den. And by the way, when I walked into this house, and he showed me the tour of this house, and this house had an indoor swimming pool. You walk right out of the dining room, and there's a damn pool out there, all covered just like the rest of the house, heated, everything, And
your money was taking care of him pretty good, huh?
He was living like a king, brother. And so, anyway, I told him, I says, what the hell is going on here? And I told him what the accountant told me. He says, "Oh, well, look, I need a lot of money to live on." And I said, "Yeah, but I mean, He said, "Don't worry about it. There's plenty of money in there." He says, "Do you need a little more money?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "What? I'm giving you $400 a month now. Suppose I up it to $800. That ought to help you in school, And yeah, we're going to double the amount of money I was getting each month. Because back then, my wife was working $400, and my wife made us close to $1,000, which was a fairly decent salary. This would up it another $400. I could, afford to live and enjoy myself while I was going to school. So I said, fine, and I left and went back to Memphis, went back to school, and was back in school for about a month and a half. And and Fontaine called me that afternoon. Got out of school, and he says, "We got to talk." And I said, "Well, what's the matter?" He says, "This company can't afford to pay you $800 a month and my salary. It's just not enough money there." And I says, "Well, so what does that mean?" He says, "Well," he said, I've got it. We need another boat." And he said, "I've been talking to this guy. I got a deal lined up, but to line this deal up, I need you to come down here and run the boat." Because he had been spending a lot of time on the boat as captain of the boat, "I need you to come down and run the boat so I can do this other deal." And I said, "All right." So I got out of school and was only supposed to be gone for a couple of weeks. And then I went down there and got on the boat in New Orleans and started going. We was pushing this barge, Sinclair Birmingham. And by the way, here's a picture of the boat, the Vonnie D. That picture's up at Bankhead Locks, waiting to get through the locks because the barge it was pushing was already in the locks.
That was the first boat, or the only boat I guess you owned by yourself, right?
The only
you
boat
owned
I
other
owned by
ones
myself,
as
yeah.
part of corporations and stuff.
Right.
It was the only boat you personally owned.
Right. But I got on at New Orleans and was going towards Birmingham, went over there, loaded the barge up, and took about a day to load the barge up. And running the Intercoastal, this was all new to me. I never had been in there before. But the Intercoastal was so easy to run because it was just a canal with mud banks on the sides, straight up and down banks, you know, pretty much. And he was pushing these barges in there. And these Cajuns, and they was predominantly the ones that was in that canal down there, you know, they had a deal made of their own where everybody passes on one whistle, you know, port to port. You stay on that side of the canal going that way, westbound. I'll stay on the lower side coming eastbound. So that made it a lot easier. So I got on out there, and I had maps. I had maps on the boat, and I mapped my way into Houston and to the Sinclair docks. Had to call and ask guys on ships where the hell's the Sinclair dock. My first trip over there, and finally got the barge in there, got it loaded.
They didn't have a big dinosaur out in front or nothing?
No, not in them days. No.
That was their corporate symbol, though.
Right. But yeah, everything was, can't miss it, everything's green and white, you know.
With some red.
Yeah, with a little bit of red. But got the barge loaded, went back down the Intercoastal, got to New Orleans, go up to from one lock to another, to a different lock, to the industrial canal locks, go through there, go out what they call the Wrigley's. That's where the canal ends, and you start getting into some open water. And actually, it was pretty well buoyed. If you took the South Channel, it had two channels. One was buoyed, it was longer and narrower, and then the other one was through past Marianne. That was all open water. You ran by a compass. So,
how far was it between buoys there?
5 miles on some of them, yeah.
That's pretty far, ain't it?
Yeah, it was pretty far. You had to get. That's why you need to run a compass course. Then you know.
Crab with the wind.
You need a radar. You can pick up stuff on a radar, and but you're like 5 miles out off the coast of Gulfport and Biloxi and Pascagoula. You're traveling 5 miles out off the shore, and of course those are through the passes. Then you get on over go into Mobile Bay, and then you cut over into the ship channel of Mobile Bay, and then come in there up to Mobile, up going up to Mobile River. It's about 40 miles long. Then you hit the Warrior Tom Bigby, and you go on up there, and I think it's Demopolis where they split off, and Tom Bigby goes more towards. It's now connected to the Tennessee River, but it wasn't back then. And then the Warrior River goes on up towards Birmingham, and the river. Well, this where this picture was made was the Bankhead Locks. So above that was the last dam you had to go through. And that rose the water up 56 feet. You're going up into Birmingport. And then Birmingport was like 30 miles from Birmingham. So that was the run, back and forth. And I was supposed to do that after about couple of weeks. I called Fontaine and says, "Hey, what's going on, man?" You know, and he says,
Okay, Cap, we'll wrap it up here, and we'll come back and see what Fontaine had to say. Thanks for watching Captain Harold DeMarrero's River Stories.